welcome our blood viewers to RTD's News English edition. And as usual, we bring to you tonight's major and top highlights. Let's follow. The President of the Republic returns to the country after his participation in the LDC summit held in Qatar. And on the international scene, six European countries condemning the indiscriminate shelter violence that took place in Palestine. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, returned to the country this Monday in the early afternoon at the end of his participation from 4 to 6 March 2023 in Doha, Qatar, in the Summit of Heads of State and Government of the Least Developed Countries, LDC. In addition to the adoption of a 10-year action plan to help LDCs acquire the essential foundation for their sustainable development, this summit served as a privileged forum for the call for a greater commitment from development nations to the economic development of LDCs, and consequently to the realization of an efficient process of international solidarity whose main articulations are assigned to the occasion of an amount between 0.15 and 0.2% of the national budgets of rich countries and the establishment of a greater transfer of technology. Among other things, the summit also led to the implementation of a greater investment by developed countries in available sectors of LDCs, particularly in the African agriculture, which is known for its vast arable land. The optimal application of preferential tariffs and allowances granted to LDCs within the framework of the World Trade Organization, which is also known in short as WTO, and the elimination of procedural delays in the granting of loans to developing countries in international financial structures, suggestions made by the President, Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, in his speech at the LDC Summit are also among the key conclusions of this meeting. In addition to his participation in the LDC Summit, the President of the Republic had yesterday, Sunday, on the sidelines, a series of virtual meetings with several of his peer heads of state and government present as he was in Doha, including the President of Chad, Mr. Mohamed Idris Deby, and President of Somalia, Mr. Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, and the Vice President of the Presidential Council of Yemen, Mr. Usman Hussein Mughali. It should be recalled that President Guelleh also had a separate meeting on Saturday, a one-on-one meeting with the Emir of State of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. On the sidelines of the summit of the 5th United Nations Conference on LDCs, the category of economically least developed countries, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, received the Vice President of the Presidential Council in Yemen, Mr. Usman Hussein Mughali. The audience between President Guelleh and the Yemeni Vice President served as a framework for the evocation of the state of relations of brotherhood, friendship, and cooperation between the two countries and the two brotherly peoples, with ancient ties woven by the thread of history, culture, and geographical proximity. The discussions then focused on the evolution of the political situation in Yemen and in the region. The Yemeni Vice President thanked the President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, for the solidarity of the Republic of Djibouti with the sister nation of Yemen in the difficult context of war characterizing this country since 2014. It is commensurate with the hospitality that our country, under the leadership of its head of state, Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, systematically offers to the flow of people fleeing the hostilities in Yemen. During his meeting with the head of state, the Minister of Foreign Affairs in International Cooperation, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, as well as the Minister of Economy and Finance in charge of Industry, Mr. Ilyas Moussa Dawali, the Ambassador of Djibouti in Doha, Mr. Tayyib Dubad, the Ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti to the United States of America, and Permanent Representative of our country to the United Nations System, His Excellency Mohammed Saad Douali, were all present. Still on the national scene, the Minister of Equipment and Transport, Mr. Hassan Mohammed Ibrahim, received today in his office a delegation led by the Ethiopian Minister of Transport, Limo Simiye, who is an official visit to the country. The delegation was introduced to the minister by the ambassador of Djibouti in Ethiopia and Abdi Mahmoud Ahebe. The two men had a discussion on the ways and means to promote the transit coordinator, favored by its strategic geographical position on one of the most active maritime routes. Djibouti has become the logistics hub of the Horn of Africa. Ethiopia, a landlocked country that depends on Djibouti for its trade, is aiming to diversify its road and rail corridors with Djibouti. In Ethiopia, as in Djibouti, the transport and logistics sector is a central sector in constant evolution. Thereafter, the Minister of Infrastructure and Equipment, Mr. Hassan Mohammed Ibrahim, and the President of the Ports and Free Zone Authority of Djibouti, Mr. Obakar Umar Hadi, welcomed Mr. Alimu Semeh, Minister of Transport and Logistics of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. The minister is in Djibouti for his first official visit. A presentation on the ports, the park, and the city of Djibouti, as well as the project of transformation of the old port, was made to him. Discussions during the meeting focused on the themes of multimodal transport, the road corridor, and overall trade between the two sister countries. The event brought together the ambassadors of the two countries and aimed to promote economic cooperation and strengthen ties between Djibouti and Ethiopia. In his interview, the Ethiopian Ministry of Transport stressed the importance of the historical relationship between Ethiopia and Djibouti. According to him, the two countries have a brotherly relationship that extends to many areas, such as economic, social, and security. He also noted that Djibouti plays a crucial role in the Ethiopian economy as the majority of Ethiopian exports pass through the port of Djibouti. Let's listen.
As everybody knows, Ethiopia's import and exports takes place through Djibouti. Most of the Ethiopian export and import is through Djibouti ports. Since I took my office, I made my first visit to Djibouti. This shows that how important Djibouti is to Ethiopia. The relationship between the government and the people of Ethiopia and Djibouti is historical and brotherly in multifaceted areas such as economic, social, and security. My mission here is to strengthen the effective and efficient movement of trucks and cargoes from Djibouti to other parts of Ethiopia and other parts of Ethiopia to Djibouti.
The Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity organized today the launching of the celebration works on the National Strategy of Non-Contributory Social Protection 2023-2027 on Sunday, March 5th and Monday, March 6th at the Djibouti Palace Kempinski. This workshop started on Sunday and was chaired by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Mrs. Amina Ahmed Warsame, and saw the participation of sectoral partners and development partners, in the first of which were present the resident representative of UNDP and the representative of WFP World Food Program. The first day chaired by Secretary General of the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity, marked by the launch of the work of developing of the new strategy based on evolution of the National Strategy for Social Protection 2018-2022. As a reminder, the government has put in place the National Social Protection Strategy to address the development challenges facing the country. The strategy covered the period from 2018 to last year, 2022, and was based on 4 ambitious pillars aimed at proactively and effectively addressing the structural development challenges facing Djibouti. As part of the protection and promotion of the rights of people with disabilities here in Djibouti, the Auto School Fair, in collaboration with the National Agency for People with Disabilities, organized on Sunday, March 5th, a training course on the highway code and motorcycle practice for people with disabilities. This training benefited a number of disabled men and women who learned the passage of the code, which is free for a disabled person, in order to take the practical examination for the driving license. The training is co-chaired by the Deputy Director of the EMPH, Mr. Mahad Ibrahim Hassan, and the Director of Auto School of the Fair, Mr. Abdullah Habib Arif. The National Agency for the Disabled aims to promote driving activities which is essential to preserve their independence and ensure its ability to drive for their road safety. In a speech delivered by the Deputy Director of the EMPH, wished people with disabilities to benefit from this training to develop their knowledge of the highway code. The Director of the Auto School of La Fair urged to follow the course of highway code by ensuring no fee is requested for them. Open Day of the NGO Roots of Transformation International. A day of presentation of the sector of activity and mission of the NGO took place at the Sheraton Hotel. Roots is a non-governmental organization that promotes sustainable behavior change. This presentation day was an opportunity to salute the efforts of the NGO Roots, which facilitates organizational stability, change, and transformation through the renewal of the spirit of individuals through individual and institutional capacity building. Roots is designed to work in collaboration and partnership with civil society, state institutions, UN agencies, and national and international non-governmental organizations. These collaborations are the means to provide technical assistance and support local communities in increasing their self-awareness in a holistic manner, a tripartite definition of self as a physical, mental, and spiritual. Roots promote empowerment by supporting educational opportunities for boys and girls, men and women. 3 days left before the start of the East Africa and India Ocean Table Tennis Championship will be held in Djibouti from March 8 to 13. Now the most of infrastructure is ready. The organizing committee is working hard to finalize the details to make the sporting event a success. The preparations have already keen throughout reviewed at the last meeting, and it was a question this evening is to stop the list details to be settled and the components to finalize quickly to be at the appointment. It must be said that on the level of infrastructure, including the CTN to host the tournament, is almost ready. It was a question of making a last return on the installation of the tables, the seats for the bleachers, the test lighting, the sound system, as well as the rehearsals for the parades of delegations. The 2023-2024 sports season grouping, the Corps in formation of the Djiboutian Army, has just been started on March 4, 2023, with the opening match between the Headquarters Regiment and the Armed Regiment, which was played at the King Fahad Soccer Stadium of Balbala. The first was chaired by the Chief General of Staff of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, as well as senior officials of the Djiboutian Armed Forces, including the Chief of Defense Staff, Brigadier General Tahir Ali Mohammed. The series of competitions brings together several sports and disciplines, including soccer, volleyball, commando marching, as well as several purely military physical activities that will continue throughout the year.
mada ugubiyo calankiyo arladu kiyayirkanayeen moogtahay askariyo inaad tahay taalkii gobaanimada ugubiyo calankiyo arladu kiyayirkanayeen ina tahay awoodii lagu aarsanayay moogtahay askariyo.
Shifting gears towards the international scene now, our beloved viewers, 6 European countries have expressed their deep concern over the escalation of tensions between Israel and Palestine. In a joint statement, the foreign ministers of France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Spain, and the United Kingdom all strongly condemned the indiscriminate violence by Israeli settlers against Palestinian civilians, including the destruction of their homes and property. The European states stressed that the perpetrators of these acts must be held accountable and brought to justice. All unilateral actions that threaten peace and encouragement to violence must stop. This joint press also recalled that a just and lasting peace for all is the only solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Well, by this, our beloved viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening. Take care.